let me explain to you in very easy to understand terms what's going on in terms of the food industry. The food industry is made up of people. These are people just like you and I. You know, they get up and get dressed and go to work and raise their kids and pay the mortgage. And they're not bad people, they're just people. And they get involved in businesses that unfortunately do an awful lot of harm, far more harm than good in the case of the food business, in my opinion. But any business, anybody who's in any business, they must make the business survive and thrive. And the way you do that is by a marketing technique called unique positioning. You find something unique about your product. Like say you're selling cars and you got a car that gets 60 miles to the gallon. So you put in your ads, you get 60 miles to the gallon. You don't put in your ads, this car is so flimsily built, so lightly built that if your family gets in an accident, they'll all die. Okay, just unique positioning. So the food industry, they find something unique about their food. You know, they don't look at meat and say, this is full of saturated fat, cholesterol, DDT, environmental contaminants, infection. They don't say that in their ad. Not part of the sales pitch. They simply say something unique about the meat. They say, it's got lots of protein. It's got lots of iron. That's what every industry does. So if I say protein, you say meat or eggs. And the dairy industry does the same thing. If I say calcium, you say milk or cheese. If I say omega-3 fats, you say fish. But one thing that the consumer is entitled to know is this: there has never been a case of protein deficiency ever reported any place in science, in history, ever reported to occur in any human being who consumed adequate amounts of natural food. It doesn't exist. There's no such thing as protein deficiency. Likewise, there's no such thing as calcium deficiency. There's never been a case of it on any natural diet ever. And omega-3 fats have never been made by fish or any animal. Desaturation at the carbon-3 position to make an omega-3 fat can only be done by plants. So because of unique positioning, people believe, because of the advertising pitch trying to sell, you're going to get protein deficiency, you're going to get calcium deficiency, you're going to get omega-3 fatty acid deficiency, which has never occurred, never will. Because of their efforts, people believe if they eat a healthy diet without those so important foods, that they will they'll just fall apart. Bones will fall apart, they'll lay down on the floor, they won't continue to live, you'll be arrested for mistreatment of your children. I mean, there are all kinds of these things going on, but it's all due to unique positioning. Or I could say lying, but I'll just say unique positioning. Back when I was a young boy, and before in my father's and grandfather's generation, people ate mostly a starch-based diet. You went to the kitchen and Grandma talked about the starch that we were going to have for soup or stew or whatever. We're going to have potato stew or a rice stew or bean stew or something. Starch was a common word. It was used by everybody because that was the food. And then maybe on Sunday or a special day you had a little piece of chicken. Well, what happened was industry became big, and this was all preceded by an industry that I should mention that became very big in this country, and that was the tobacco industry. Let's just use the tobacco industry to tell you what happened. The tobacco industry became a big deal. When I was a young person, half the people smoked. Big tobacco. Well, Luther Terry in 1964, who was the Surgeon General, he got after big tobacco and wrote the Surgeon General's report on smoking and health in the United States and ruined the tobacco business in the US. Of course, they didn't do so bad. They just went to China and Japan and sold their goods there. Now, fewer than 20% of people smoke cigarettes. Well, big food saw what happened to big tobacco. And the government went after big food in 1977. It was Senator George McGovern led the way and produced the Dietary Goals of the US, which came out in February 1977. By the end of 1977, big food, in other words, the meat and dairy industry, got their lobbyists and money active and completely changed the dietary goals by the end of 1977. And then 1985, C. Everett Koop, he came out with the Surgeon General's report on nutrition and health in the US, which said the same thing. The meat and the dairy are killing Americans, fattening Americans, and you need to eat more beans and grains, etc. Well, they got rid of that as quick as they could. Big Food has spent their efforts by doing scientific research with their money, by buying lobbyists, by buying every influence they can, including changing the dietary goals for the US. They've tried to do it every year, and the people have resisted. Men and women of integrity and science have resisted up until, well, maybe up until 2015. 2010, the dietary goals were pretty vegetarian-oriented. At least you could see it. Now in the year 2015, they're about to come out. Industry has been so strong and so effective that the new dietary goals for 2015, new dietary guidelines they're called, for 2015, as they stand right at this moment, say there's no limit in the amount of fat you can eat. Cholesterol is no longer considered a harmful, quote, nutrient. You eat as much cholesterol as you want. That's what the meat and the dairy industry have accomplished so far. That's why we are here today. It's not because of the truth. We have truth. We have success. They got the money.